But today I'm going to talk about the health protocol. I'm going to do a quick and easy presentation of approximately 20 minutes, highlighting our fantastic products. Before I go into detail, I would like to start with what is really the status of our diet and nutrition in 2022? What is the situation in the world? How does it look like? Well, if we look at what constitutes a healthy diet, we could, in general, summarize 5 points. The first dietary recommendation is that we should strive for energy balance. That is clear to most of us. We should adjust our energy intake to what we expend during a day. Then the second dietary recommendation that pretty much all nations agree on is that we should eat whole food, avoid or restrict intake of ultra-processed foods. These foods I will get back to, but they are typically what meets us in the supermarket. They are highly refined, been produced, and doesn't really look like the ingredient or the whole food that it's supposed to be. For example, you cannot go into nature finding ultra-processed tacos, for example. Then the third recommendation that we generally agree on is that we should eat at least 5 portions of fruit and vegetable a day. Fourth is that we should consume fiber or whole grain foods every day, and that we also should, of course, include fish in our daily diet and eat fish for dinner at least 2 to 3 times. Okay, so given these dietary recommendations generally accepted worldwide, let's go into the first one. Well, the World Health Organization typically recommends us to be physically active for at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity or 75 minutes of high intensity every week. If we look into the statistics, if I can have my presentation work with me, we see that 1.4 billion adults are insufficiently active. That is 1 out of 4 adults. And we have had no improvements in our global physical activity level since 2001. What is even more scary is that 80% of adolescents are insufficiently active. This means that we are struggling very hard on a global level to meet energy balance, and the prevalence of obesity and overweight are increasing. Here is just an updated map from the World Health Organization, and we see very high prevalences of obesity worldwide. The second dietary recommendation is that we should eat whole food and avoid or restrict the intake of ultra-processed foods. We should eat according to the food pyramid, base or foundation in the diet on fruit, vegetables, legumes, whole grain, milk, dairy, fish, egg, and so on. And on the very top, limit the processed or ultra-processed foods. If we do that, we will consume a balanced, healthy, and varied diet. But the problem is that the real food pyramid of 2022 looks like this. We have the ultra-processed foods at the bottom, creating the foundation in our diet. This is, of course, very attractive to the producers. It's convenient to us because we save a lot of time grabbing these fast food alternatives or ready-made foods, and it's also very profitable. As long as these producers are making huge amount of money, they will continue to produce poor quality foods. In fact, 60% of the foods that we are consuming are ultra-processed foods, meaning that the diet of 2022 is of poor quality. It's low in essential nutrients, vitamins, minerals, and it's high in calories, meaning energy dense while nutrient poor. We should strive to have as much foods on the left side of this illustration as possible and avoid or restrict as much to the right-hand side. The third point that we agree on is that we should eat much fruit and vegetables. These fruits and vegetables are contributing to valuable vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants that we are dependent on every day. The problem is that only 1 out of 10, for example, in the US, meet these recommendations. And in Norway, we typically consume around 3 persons. So on a global basis, we eat too little fruits and vegetables. The fourth point is that we should consume fiber and whole grain foods every day. The westernized diet, the consumption of these ultra-processed foods, they typically contain very little fiber. In addition to the very high prevalence of use of antibiotics, we are now in a situation where many people have a dysbiosis in our gut, meaning that we have an unbalanced relationship between the good and the bad bacteria. This relationship is crucial, maintaining a good immune system for our gut-brain axis, also for metabolizing foods, and in addition to many other health effects. Dysbiosis are increasing the risk of diseases. It's increasing the risk of inflammation in the gut and low-grade inflammation in general. It also decreases production of crucial short-chain fatty acids and increases production of lipopolysaccharides, which we do not want to enter the bloodstream from the colon. Our gut, or our gut bacteria, the good gut bacteria, are dependent on fiber. We need to feed them fiber every day in order to keep this good homeostasis or balance between the good and the bad bacteria in the gut. The actual fiber intake in the world are too low because we are recommended a fiber intake between 25 and 35 grams a day, meaning that we are not consuming enough fiber and whole grain foods. The last dietary recommendation is that we should consume fish for dinner at least 2 to 3 times per week. The reason why we are emphasized the high intake of fish is that it contains crucial, very important, essential fatty acids, omega-3 fatty acids, in addition to vitamin D. And omega-3 fatty acids and vitamin D are only found in fatty fish. It's also important to incorporate some lean fish or white fish because these types of fish, they are high in protein and high in iodine. We are recommended to consume at least 300 grams or 450 grams of fish every week, but the statistics again is showing us that we are not consuming enough. In Norway, for example, one of the countries where we are producing most fish, we only eat around half of the recommended intake of fish. On a global basis, we also see that the balance, and this we all know, between the omega-3 fatty acids and omega-6 fatty acids are very bad. 95% of people worldwide have an unbalanced relationship between the omega-6 fatty acids being too high and too low in omega-3 fatty acids. So we consume too little fish and too little fatty fish. To sum it up, we have a situation in 2022 where 1/3 of the world is malnourished. Speaking about malnutrition, this involves, of course, underweight that we see in some parts in regions, especially in Asia and in Africa. But it also involves overweight and obesity that I have explained. The prevalences are increasing worldwide. And the last form of malnutrition, the form that we cannot see, but is also very important to target, and that is malnutrition type B, meaning that we are not able to meet our daily requirements of essential nutrients. What is even more scary is that by 2025, half of the world will be malnourished, if these statistics are correct. And malnutrition is also affecting our children. To sum it up, our bodies are unbalanced, and the three most prevalent and important unbalances we have, given the diet and nutrition of 2022, is an unbalanced omega-6-3 ratio, an unbalanced gut microbiota, and an unbalanced intake of essential nutrients. This is why we have developed the health protocol, because the health protocol is going to compensate for the modern diet, the poor modern diet of 2022. We promote a balanced omega-6-3 ratio with balanced oil. We promote a balanced gut microbiota with synbiotic, and we promote a balanced micronutrient intake with Extend and Extend Plus. Going a little bit more into detail of the health protocol, given the situation where we have a very high intake of these ultra-processed foods with a high intake of omega-6 fatty acids, we either need to reduce the intake of these foods or we need to increase our intake of fatty fish. In the world today, in our daily life, it's very difficult to make huge changes. So the most efficient approach from one day to the other is, of course, by introducing a supplement. And the supplement we have here in Cincino is unique. It's the world-leading omega-3 fatty acid supplement out there, but it's not only an omega-3 supplement. So we need to fix this ratio, and the solution to this ratio, this unbalance, is balance oil. The reason why balance oil is not an ordinary fish oil or omega-3 oil is that it doesn't only contain omega-3 fatty acids from fatty fish, it also contains olive oil with a high content of polyphenols, strong antioxidants, protecting the formulation inside the bottle and these fragile omega-3 fatty acids, and all the way through the body and into the cells, making sure that we incorporate the omega-3 fatty acids into the cell membrane. We measure the effect of this product, and by now we have performed over 800,000 fatty acid tests on a global basis, meaning that we have the highest or the largest biobanks of fatty acids out there, and we're growing. But there are not only 800,000 people living worldwide, so we have a huge potential to test even more. And this is up to us. For example, in Germany, we see that the balance has gone from 14 to 4 to 2.8 to 1 after 120 days of the oil. And if you go into cincinotest.com, you can click on your country to see how the statistics is for your country. The second part of the health protocol is that we need to balance our gut microbiota. We could either then increase the content of plant foods, or we could include a supplement. Synbiotic isn't just another or just an ordinary fiber supplement, because synbiotic is or contains 8 sources to dietary fibers. Fibers, as I told you, are the food for our gut bacteria, the good gut bacteria, and fiber is the single most important factor that we can modulate as adults in this relationship. It's difficult to modulate or regulate how much medicines or antibiotics we need, or how stressed we are. We cannot do anything on the way we are born or the diet early in life, but we can do something about how much fiber we are consuming on a daily basis. Not only fiber, the total fiber intake is important. We also know that the different types of fiber that we consume are important. So ensuring diversity in our fiber intake is extremely important for the different bacteria to ferment different substrates. So we need to make sure that the diversity in the fiber intake is there so that we are feeding many types of good gut bacteria. Dietary fibers are fermented, as I said, by gut bacteria. For example, the Firmicutes family or Bacteroidetes family are fermenting different bacteria, different fibers into short-chain fatty acids. And these short-chain fatty acids, they are crucial for example, energy as an energy source in our gut. They are connected to an improved gut barrier function. They are important as anti-inflammatory signals in the gut, and they are very important for the mucosa, the inner lining of our gut. I also said that fiber is important for the gut-brain axis because having a healthy gut means that we have a good, we are predisposed in a better way to having a healthier mind. And a healthier mind is also influencing the gut. Because fiber is modulating our gut microbiota, it also influences how well... Sorry, thank you. The inner lining of our gut and these tight junctions. We don't want to have a leaky gut situation in our colon where pathogens are entering the bloodstream. So making sure that we have a good gut microbiota also influences our brain. It also influences blood sugar and appetite control and consequently weight management. Because if we include fiber to meals, we crave less between meals, we feel more full, and we're able to maintain a normal weight or decrease our weight over time. The last thing about fiber I wanted to mention today is also a cholesterol lowering effects that we know is very important and linked to several non-communicable diseases that we see also an increased prevalence of in the world today. 2 scoops of Synabiotic will ensure a diversity in the fiber intake. It gives us immediate effects and it's very efficient and easy. It will actually take the global population from an inadequate intake to an optimal intake. The last product, the last situation of the health protocol is to balancing our micronutrient intake. And we are living in a world today where we are doing things in a very different way than we did 50 years ago, the way we are agriculturing foods, how the animals are being looked after, the food they are fed. We eat, some of us eat by a certain label, for example, gluten-free, although we're not having celiac disease. And when we do that, we also restrict or exclude important minerals in the diet. We spend less time on physical activity, as I showed you, meaning that the diet we then consumes need to be more packed with vitamins and minerals because we are actually consuming or should consume less energy. Some statistics that I'm sure you have seen before: 1 billion people on a global basis are vitamin D deficient. We have huge problems with folate, with iron. Here in Norway, 3/4 of all pregnant women have a suboptimal intake of iodine, for example. And all of these crucial micronutrient statistics is something we can actually do things about. For example, Extend, the market's most advanced product of its kind out there, is able to bring back the normality or the recommended intake of our micronutrients. Extend, I could speak for on and on about Extend and Extend Plus, but having this extremely advanced supplement in our portfolio makes us in a very, or gives us an advantage over everybody else who are just having an ordinary multivitamin product. We have all of the different vitamins and minerals that we need on a daily basis, in addition to plant extracts with a lot of antioxidants and polyphenols that we need in a hectic, stressful situation and world and daily life. We were able to reformulate and make a new product, Extend Plus, with only natural additives, plant-based capsules, and with almost the same formulation as we had or have in Extend. We're going to keep both, so the customer, or it's up to you, which one you prefer, either Extend Plus, the more natural approach, or Extend, the old but very advanced and good star player, I would say. I also wanted to show you this slide over how much we actually have in 4 tablets or 4 capsules of Extend or Extend Plus. And if you see closely here, we have, for the majority of the essential nutrients, we have at least 100% or more, meaning that by taking the daily dose, you will ensure to fill up what you need of all of the different micronutrients. It influences the immune system, nervous system, and extremely many other bodily functions, all EFSA claims. So in fact, by taking Extend or Extend Plus, we could cross over the statistics I just showed you. The health protocol contains a lot of different active ingredients. It's a very unique protocol to cope with the situation of today. I just wanted to also end with the vitamin D test and the vitamin D product that we launched earlier or this fall, half a year ago, because the health protocol will give you 40 micrograms of vitamin D3, and it's up to us, you and me, to make sure that we test and monitor our vitamin D status and adjust our intake by using CinoShine. It's extremely valuable to have these tools in addition to the health protocol. The health protocol is a protocol for the whole body, and I hope that by this presentation today that I have reminded you of how important it is of using all 3 products for a healthy body and also a healthy mind.